Coming up this week on Cruisin'.
Everybody calls these cars wind-up cars, you know.
And this one even has the key to prove it. The perfect paint job takes careful planning and execution.
There was a Volkswagen in the garage at the same time the Firebird was. And the boys got the paint mixed up.
And a lot of beer. So much for planning. Usually it's boys and their toys. It's not often you hear.
Actually, it was my wife who was actually the instigator in bidding on the car.
Aren't you the lucky one? Double win, bro. You ready to start the show?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, let's get started. Cruisin' starts now. And don't forget to pet the dog. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cruisin'. I'm Scott Miller, car enthusiast and regular guy just like you. We're just a stone's throw away from the shores of Lake Erie in Willowick, Ohio at Lim-O-Tec for their 7th annual Custom Car Cruise and Cancer fundraiser. Got a gorgeous day? That means sunshine and convertibles and maybe a few things you haven't seen before. Let's go check it out. Bob, beautiful 35 Ford Coupe. You got Josh with you. How much work does Josh actually do on the car?
He helps out. A lot of the cleaning. Usually when we get to the shows, that's where he comes in handy.
Nephew Josh, is it a penance that you have to work on Uncle Bob's car?
Yeah, it is a lot.
Well, it's certainly shiny and it looks fantastic. Tell us a little bit about the car because the color combination just really pops.
Colors are Tangelo and silver. It was painted by S&M Auto Body. 1935 Ford Coupe, 350 engine.
Where did you get the car?
It was at a show at Bill Lake Buick, across from me at Choppers when I had my T-Bucket. It was sitting there for sale, waited for the guy to show up, and the last day he showed up and started talking to him.
So you had your eye on the car for a while.
I've had it 17 years, but it just the color and the paint job on it that I liked just caught my eye, and I like the coupes.
How soon did you do the paint job after you bought the car?
It was probably about 8 years afterwards that I decided to change the colors, but stay with the same design on it.
What was it about the Ford Coupe that made you say that's the car I gotta have?
I like the Fords. I've had a 38 Ford. I did have a 37 Chevy Ford Coupe, or 37 Chevy. Just like the style of them.
And how do you get the car to stand that way? Do you have to modify the front end? Because certainly, obviously, it's not stock.
No, it was original front end. I was fighting it like anything on the freeway, but I put a Mustang 2 front end up under it. Bought a crate motor, put in it because I knew I was going to drive it far. Changed the interior, changed the wheels on it, put a bigger gas tank up under it.
And you do put a lot of miles on it.
Drive down to West Virginia with it. New Martinsville, I've been down there a few times for shows. Dublin for the Arthritic Foundation, do the show there. PA, drive up there.
How often does Josh go with you?
Much as possible.
Quite a bit.
And do you enjoy going to the shows, Josh?
Yes, I do, because I like seeing a lot of the cars that I never have seen before. And like some of the IX Center ones, I always see a Ferrari. And I think those are nice cars. And I like going there because of the airplanes.
Now you need to keep in mind the nicest car you've ever seen in your life is the one behind you, right?
Yep. Always will be and always have.
Yeah. Is there any designs on one day you having this car, Josh?
Yeah.
It's been brought up. He drops his hints to me.
Yeah. Do you like riding in the car?
Yes, because I like just riding in it because there's not that many kids out there that get to ride in a hot rod.
And have you noticed that girls look at you more when you're in that car?
Yeah, a lot.
Well, you guys have made a great show for us today. We love the design of the car.
Thanks.
The accents on the car give it all the character that you have brought forth with the paint job, and the Foose wheels all the way down to the way that the car sits. It looks great.
Yeah, that was the last thing I wanted was those rims on there.
Dennis from the 440 with the gorgeous 67 Coronet 440. Tell us about your Dodge here.
Well, my wife wanted a convertible all her life, and we decided a few years ago to try to find a car that fit our needs as far as traveling, and also she wanted a convertible. So we ended up buying the Dodge Coronet, and she was instrumental in actually redoing the interior. She wanted something that was a little bit different than the standard interior, so she decided to put the red piping on that and the Chrysler Pentastar, and just kind of make it a little bit of her own. So
gives it a very nice accent. Now, where'd you get the car?
We got it at Mecum Auction about 4 years ago in Indiana. They had a number of cars that we were looking at, but we wanted the convertible, so we made sure that we only looked at convertibles at the time, so we didn't have enough time to see all the cars. So we decided then to purchase the Dodge. Actually, it was my wife who was actually the instigator in bidding on the car. And as a matter of fact, I told her to stop at a certain point, but then she used her other arm because I couldn't hold that one down.
Is she a tough negotiator?
Oh yes. Well, when she wants something, she negotiates with me.
What have you done to it?
Well, we had the exterior of the car, and mechanically it was all in pretty good shape. The interior and the top needed to be replaced and worked on. So we got it home, replaced the top in white, and then decided to put new carpeting on it, redid the whole dash on it, and of course the seats. And like I said, she wanted something that was a little different, so we put the red piping on it that made it look a little bit more her car.
It's got the original 318 V8 in it.
That is
Any
correct.
engine work done?
The engine itself is original. It's got about 50,000 miles on it, and it's running good.
How many miles have you put on it since you got it?
Probably close to 10,000 in 4 years, but we do like to drive it. It's not a big hot rod, but it's a nice cruising car. Put the top down, and in the summertime we just have fun.
Days like today were made for convertibles.
Absolutely.
How's she go down the road?
Oh, just not. I mean, I can drive it at 60, 70 mile an hour, or I can drive it, in town or whatever. I have no problems with it overheating or anything else. It's just a nice cruising car.
And what's the future of the Coronet for Dennis?
Probably we're going to keep it a while.
Coming up next,
Best of class there. At that point in time, it didn't even run.
it's running now, and it's next on Cruisin'. Welcome back to the 7th annual Lim-O-Tec Car Show on Cruisin'.
George, we see a lot of cars that look a little something like this, but it's pretty rare to see a car that has all the numbers matching. Tell us about your Charger.
Okay, this was a labor of love. It took about 18, 20 years to do this. It was a complete car, which made it quite a bit easier for it to be numbers matching. All the components were there.
You picked it up in what condition, and where'd you get it?
Well, the car originally was from Oklahoma. It was acquired through a part-time job that I had once, and it was sad. It was hitting 3 other 4 corners.
But the thing that drew you most to the car was the fact that what was there was all original.
Oh, absolutely. We had a good foundation to start with, and that made chasing things down a lot easier, a lot less work.
You spend time on a project like this. I know with myself, if I start something, I leave it. When I come back, I can never remember where I left off.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of redo process in that, exactly what you say. You forget where you're at, and you have to back up 3 steps back to go 1 step forward.
It's got the 440 Magnum in it.
Yes, it does. It's an old man's muscle car.
And as far as the color goes, that's the Hemi orange. But let's double down a little bit. Are you a Browns fan?
Yes.
See, it worked even better for you.
Yeah, double whammy.
How often do you take it out and do you ever get a little nervous?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you get something like this, you can't help but drive it and kind of feel like you have a target on your door.
Are you looking to take some prizes somewhere? Do you want to take it out to some shows? Are you interested to find out what the car would be worth now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've done some of the local shows. Probably the first one we did right out of the trailer was a Piston Power Show, Cleveland. and it was best of class there. And at that point in time, it didn't even run. We pushed it in and out of the trailer, and that was it. And locally also, Akron, Canton, we took it to Summit, all Mopar meet, took best of show there. Next year, we're planning on Mopar Nationals in Columbus, see how it does there.
And is that just a little icing on the cake? Because when you step away from it, regardless of the certificates or the trophies, you still get to look at that car every day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's more about the response from the guys locally. Like the wow factor is priceless.
Well, it wowed us for sure. Thank you, George.
Okay.
Dennis is here as a public service to anyone that's about to have their car painted. Don't let your drunk friends paint your car. That is not Pontiac red, Dennis. What happened?
Well, there was a Volkswagen in the garage at the same time the Firebird was, and the boys got the paint mixed up. So about 6 months later, I was out with the fellow who owned the shop. He says, I have to admit to something. That's the wrong color, as if I didn't know it was the wrong color. It's supposed to be barn red was Firebird's color. This is a Volkswagen orange. So, I liked it so much, I did not have the heart to make him take it off the car.
67 Firebird convertible. Kind of like a Survivor car in some respects because it hasn't really been changed from the factory outside. We did upgrade the motor. What do you have?
This has a 400 in it, and the transmission is a 400 turbo. The original was a 326 with a 2-speed transmission. This car was made in Lordstown. I believe, if I'm correct, every convertible made was made in Lordstown in 1967.
The plate on the front of the car says a lot about how a lot of car collectors and memorabilia folks feel. How'd you get that plate?
Just happened. I have a friend that was up at Port Clinton, saw it hanging there, bought it for me. These originally, though, that plate was originally in the BMW motor vehicle. When you went in to buy your license plates, that was a display. A lot of the memorabilia on the car, I have almost every piece of literature that was written on this car, including when Mario Andretti test drove the car in 1967, which helps the value of the car, the fact that I have all the manuals, everything that pertains to this car.
Now, when did you get the car?
Bought it in 1977 for $500. Okay. Since then, we put almost $8,000 in the car. Everything you see is metal. There's no Bondo in this car at all. The added things, the 400 hood took me almost 5 years to find. The tack, the hood. I have a clock on a console, which was extra. I have the Saver tire behind there with the canister, which was another feature, an extra feature. The beauty of this car and why it held its value so good, this car was designed by John DeLorean in General Motors. The president of General Motors told him we didn't need another two-seater. It was originally built as a two-seater called a Banshee. So DeLorean felt that they did. So he went out and he made 2 Banshees. They're still around somewhere. And he got fired because he went over the president's head and made the prototypes. So this is the history behind, which increases the value of the car because it does have a history to it.
Is there a future of the car? Do you see yourself maybe changing the interior route, or trying to bring it a little bit closer to something you might want because you fell in love with the color?
When I put this car together in 1980, there was very little aftermarket stuff available. Now, between the 6 or 7 suppliers, you can build this car. In fact, the last thing I saw, for $13,000, you can buy the entire body of the car, all the sheet metal together. So today you could put one of these together out of the catalog. But when I put it together, there was either you bought new old stock, NOS stock, or there was very few aftermarket things available. That's changed tremendously.
So what's the future of the car?
We'll probably have it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one I've been through a lot of cars, and this one I will not sell.
Coming up,
This car puts a lot of smiles on people's faces.
wind it up, watch it go. You'll smile too. Next. Welcome back to Cruisin'.
Ron, when you decide to come out to a show, you get a little wound up, or maybe that's just your car.
Yeah, pretty much.
64 Beetle, and obviously clearly not stock, but it is done in such an eclectic fashion. You know, we just had to find out more about the car. Tell us where you got it, where it started, and how it arrived where it's at now.
Well, I ended up selling a 65 Mustang K-Code car, and I always was into the bugs when I was growing up with my father, and I found one online, and we had it shipped. I didn't even go to see it from California. It came, and we started working on it. So we ended up putting a 1600, I call it a slug motor, but it gets probably 30 miles to the gallon now. We go to a lot of cruises, and we have a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun.
At which point did you decide that you were going to take it in the direction that you did? We've got, you know, California, Von Zipper Rat Race, surfboards, some of the custom work on the interior as well. Where did it start, and what was the last thing you did?
Well, it was absolutely flawless white. We grew up in that era with Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon, and I told him, I said, I wanted to look like a distressed race car. It was a race car. I wanted to make it look like I found it, you know, in a field, and the guy's incredible. And with the Von Zipper, that was just an era that we grew up with. We got a kick out of him, you know, watching his movies with Frankie Avalon and the roof rack and all that. There was just all the stuff that came with these cars.
And you've put your own accents on it as well.
Yeah, we put the electric key, the key turns. It works. You know, everybody calls these cars wind-up cars, you know, and I thought that would be a good add to it, and it attracts a lot of people. It makes a lot of people happy. This car puts a lot of smiles on people's faces.
Spark plug for a shift lever. You've got the screwdriver handle for the key start. You know, so obviously clearly not stock, but it's all very much you.
Yeah, I'm a tool and die maker by trade, and I always been unique. Any car I've done, you could ask around the neighborhood here even. You know, they know the little ads I put in. I got just a fantasy of what the car I want it to be, and we just put it together. We just keep adding little things here and there. And
got a special signature on your dash there. What's that about?
Well, that was Candy Clark. We were out at Thompson with the Bug, and she just adored the car, adored it. And you know, I grew up with that era too, with the American Graffiti. She says, you know, I said I would be honored if you would sign my dash. There was no question. She did it in a minute. She signed the dash. She wrote on there, "Peel out," you know, "Nice Bug," Candy Clark. That to me was, that's, you know, I took it home, I took it off, I cleared it so I'd never lose it again. And you know, it's just these little ads, you know, for myself. And you know, I would have a car for a year, do it, sell it. This car here, the kids will end up with it. I mean, we just have so much fun with the car.
So Ron, the measure of how much fun you had racing the car versus taking the car out now?
Oh, now is incredible. Because you know what, this car, everywhere we go, we put a smile on someone's face. I mean, we drive down the street, people are beeping, honking, waving. You know, it's an icon, really. I mean, a Volkswagen, people are punching themselves in the arm, you know.
It's a slug bug, of course.
Yeah, it's funny.
Well, it's no slug because it can move well, it looks great, and it definitely put a smile on our faces.
Oh, I really appreciate this. I mean, this is, to me, it's like an honor. It really is. It really is.
Stay tuned for more from the Lim-O-Tec Car Show after this. Welcome back to the Lim-O-Tec Car Show in Willowick, Ohio on Cruise In.
You know, there's always a good reason for cars and car owners to get together, and we had an opportunity to talk to Vonnie Wilson here, who is the event coordinator for the Lim-O-Tec, this year's 7th annual custom car cruise, and you're doing a cancer fundraiser as well. Tell us how the event started and how you kind of built it up to where it is today.
Well, it started about 7 years ago, and with Mike the owner and Diane the owner, they grew up with cars their whole lives and everything like that. So, a lot of our families and friends and a lot of the customers that come here, they really touched, obviously by cancer. So we decided to put this car show together. Everything we make goes to the American Cancer Society. So, yeah.
And what are we looking forward to in the 8th annual one?
8th annual, well, every year we try to find something different, something bigger. So we're looking maybe, do we do cars, bikes, maybe some trucks and stuff like that. So and just like different things to get in here for like donations and stuff like that.
And obviously you get a great support from the participants. Is there a number that they can call if someone wanted to donate something for next year or get in contact with you?
Yes, absolutely. They can call Lim-O-Tec, which is 440-516-5466. And they can either speak with me or Mike the owner and stuff like that. So we try to reach out to everybody around the city.
Well, we had a wonderful time here today, and Mother Nature certainly cooperated. We want to thank everybody at Lim-O-Tec, and we want to see you next time on Cruise In.